Fans, welcome to Gone and Forgotten Toys. This series aims to take a look back at some of the toy lines that you may or may not remember from your childhood and beyond. So be sure to check out the first video in the series, which focuses on the Lucha Libre USA Masked Warriors toy line produced by Playmates Toys in the early 2010s. This series is brought to you by, of course, the WrestleGeddon podcast. So if you dig wrestling, then be sure to check us out by using the link in the description below or by searching for us on your favorite podcast app.
We used to be four ordinary teenagers until one day we met some new friends from out of town. They were called Dinosaurs.
Flashback, 1987, and a 5-year-old me or you surfing through the handful of channels we had and come across this gem. Yes, Dinosaurs was this amazing cartoon where on the planet Reptilon, dinosaurs never became extinct, but evolved into two races of highly intelligent space travelers. The good guys, the Dinosaurs, and the bad guys, the evil Tyrannos. The desperate Dinosaurs arrive on Earth seeking new energy sources. The Tyrannos, however, share nothing and are determined to conquer Earth. And it's up to 4 kids and the Dinosaurs to outmaneuver, outwit, and defeat the evil Tyrannos. Now, the Dinosaurs series consisted of 65 episodes and aired from September of 1987 to December of 1987. The series would ultimately live on thanks to syndication throughout many cable networks and cable channels. Me personally, I remember watching this on weekday mornings on the USA Network as part of a block of cartoons, which included another classic dinosaur cartoon, the one and only Denver, the Last Dinosaur. But now you're thinking, what does this have to do with Gone and Forgotten Toys? But of course, like any other cartoon from the 80s and 90s, there was a planned toy line. The toys were to be produced by Galoob, which is famously known for, of course, Micro Machines, and the Game Genie. Imagine that, the Game Genie, produced by Galoob, which I did not realize that until doing some research for this toy line. Galoob would get the license to produce a line of 8-inch figures, which would include 8 figures in that first series. But due to poor viewership and lack of interest, ultimately the cartoon would be canceled, which also spelled the end of the toy line before it even got started. But prior to the toy line and the cartoon being canceled, prototypes were in fact made of the 8 original figures, but ultimately will never see the light of day in mass-produced figure form. But there was some hope. In 1989, the show would find some success in, of all places, Brazil, which also led to production of 5 out of the 8 figures from a company called Glasslite, who purchased the original molds from Galoob. But unfortunately, the show and the toy line would get canceled, and Glasslite would go on to sell the original molds to a private collector named Von Douglas Meneses, who would use the molds to produce the figures, playsets, and vehicles for his own personal collection. And unfortunately, those outside of the 5 figures produced by Glasslite were the only ones produced and have never seen the light of day outside of those mass-produced 5 figures. The 5 figures that were produced by Glasslite were Allo, Bonehead, and Bronto Thunder for the Dinosaurs, Genghis Rex, and Quackpot for the Tyrannos. And of course, also rounding out the planned figures for that series was Stego for the Dinosaurs, and for the Tyrannos, we had Plesio and then Kylo. Also, the the planned playsets and vehicles were the Lava Dome, of course, which was the headquarters for the Dinosaurs. We also had some spaceships to go along with this as well, which included Allo's ship, Stego's ship, and Kylo's ship, and Genghis Rex's ship. So the cool thing with this series, one of the things I like too, like aside from like the big giant mothership that both teams had, they also, each character had their own individual ships too. So we were going to see in this toy line individual ships for Allo, Stego, and Kylo, and Genghis Rex, which all look pretty cool. Yeah, Dinosaurs was an awesome cartoon, and the planned toy line could have been one of those nostalgic lines that we may have looked back fondly on, like we do with other lines like Ninja Turtles or Thundercats, But sadly, with the show and toys being scrapped here in the US and Canada, and with a limited production in Brazil, Dinosaurs may just be one of the rarest toy lines in existence, with very few popping up here and there on eBay, going for anywhere from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, depending on the condition of the figure, the packaging, mint in box, out of box, accessories. A lot of these, to put it in perspective for a lot of people, if you are a Ninja Turtles collector, these pretty much rival that of Scratch and Hotspot. And the accessories alone also range in price. It's the same of like Hotspot or Scratch's accessories as well. Just from the research that I've done for these figures. But who knows? But with the resurgence of interest in 80s and 90s toy properties like Disney's Gargoyles and Dinosaurs, of course the Ninja Turtles, maybe a new line of Dinosaurs figures somehow could come to fruition from the likes of Super 7 or NECA. But there might be some hope for a new line thanks to companies like Boss Fight Studios and their Saurozoic Warriors line, and fans like Master Turtle, who you can find on Facebook and various other social media sites who've been pushing on their social media site pages for a return of the Dinosaurs toy lines. But there still may be some hope that these dinos haven't completely gone extinct from our toy shelves.